I had an interesting card that I wanted to talk about today. This is something that you see probably more often than you think. Some people refer to this card as the butterfly surface card or the Batman surface card or just a symmetric surface card. But this card here that we're looking at on the slide, this is due to incorrect reference revs. And reference revs are the number of times that the pumping unit's motor revolves for every one stroke of the pumping unit. So typically reference revs are between 100 to, I'll just say about 180 motor revolutions per stroke of the pumping unit. All right. Now, for some reason, in the firmware of the SAM controller, because that's the one that it happens in, the reference revs somehow double or increase from what they are previously. And you get cards that look like this, a surface card. And what happens is, this downhole card that you have here is a problem. It doesn't mean anything. It's garbage. And the reason it's garbage is because this surface card is actually 2 strokes of the pumping unit. But the problem is the SAM thinks it's only 1 stroke and it treats it as such. On the next slide here, we have it typed out. The correct value for the reference revs is 140. That means the motor revolves 140 times every time the unit goes around once. However, inside the SAM, it now thinks that the reference revs is 280. So that means that the motor will revolve 140 times for SAM's upstroke and 140 times for SAM's downstroke. But in real life, it's 140 total for the stroke. So it should be 70 on the upstroke. That's this first part of the card here. 70 on the upstroke. And then the second 70 revolutions, 71 to 140, that's the downstroke. But the problem is the SAM still thinks it's the second part of the upstroke. So while the unit is actually performing a downstroke in real life, the SAM is continuing that first upstroke. When we finally get to 140 revolutions, we are at the top of the stroke. At this point in real life, the SAM is thinking, well, in real life, we are beginning our second upstroke. But in the SAM's world, he's thinking we're beginning the first downstroke. So this trace of the first part of the downstroke from revolutions 141 to 210, that is the beginning of the upstroke in real life. But SAM thinks it's the beginning of the first downstroke. And then finally, from revolutions 211 to 280, the SAM is completing the first downstroke, but in real life, we've completed the second downstroke. So you actually have 2 cards here that are folded out long ways and appear to make a almost symmetric shape. And so when you fix this in the SAM, you end up getting the correct surface card, and now you have a downhole card, which in this case indicates a split pump barrel. Something that we certainly wouldn't have seen looking at the other pump card that was as a result from 2 miscalculated surface cards in the SAM. So how do you fix this on the fly? Well, if you can't remember what your reference revs are and you're not out there to do an actual calibration, you can take your gearbox ratio, which we estimate always to be about a 30, the unit sheave diameter, and the motor sheave diameter, and you can calculate a number that's very close to the actual answer. So I hope this helps you. We'll be going over more cards as the weeks go on, but this one here is one that you'll see at least a few times in your career. And so hopefully this will help you diagnose it in the future.